which is based in Tokyo, so which is one of the UN university around world. We have like 15 universities under United Nations. The headquarters is located in Tokyo, and we are actually a part of Water for Sustainable Development group. We have several research groups in our university, but we are mainly working on water. The project actually funded by the Ministry of Environment, Japan, which is like a 4 years project, and we are mainly focused on several Asian countries in Asia. Sorry, several countries in Asia. So, of course, actually she already explained about my brief introduction, so where I'm from. I did my bachelor's in Andhra University, especially in mathematics, and then I did my master's in quantitative economics in 2002, Andhra University, and I did my MPhil in 2005, and also I completed my PhD in 2009 in economics, mainly on agriculture economics. So my topic of economics is on crop diversification in Andhra Pradesh. So basically I'm an agriculture economist, but after having a lot of experience, I actually involved so many projects. So now I'm experienced on climate change issues as well as environmental issues. Okay, then so I started my job from Center for Development Research, which is a small project called Non-Timber Forest Produce. So I spent like several months during this project, and after that I worked as a field supervisor and then research investigator and research analyst in the National Council of Applied Economic Research in Delhi. And then while I'm in Delhi, I got JSPS postdoctoral fellowship. So even I don't know actually how many economists here. So if you want to actually go for a job, I think National Council of Applied Economic Research is one of the best institutions in India. So it is located in Delhi. So I think economics and social work people are eligible for that position. And then I also worked as a district scientist in ICRISAT for almost 8 months. And then I moved to University of Tokyo and joined as a project researcher. And then after 1 year, I promoted as an assistant professor. And I worked for 5 years. And then again I moved to UNU, United Nations University. So I started my job in UNU in 2018. And I'm also have a parallel position in University of Tokyo. I'm also currently working as an associate professor, visiting associate professor in University of Tokyo. So coming back to our project. So how many of you know like the SDG goals? I'm not talking about the professors and so I'm talking about the students now. So how many of you know about the SDG goals, Sustainable Development Goals? Do you heard about Sustainable Development Goals? Yes?
They have 17 sustainable goals. Poverty.
Yes.
Hunger.
Yeah. Yeah, yes. There are actually 17 goals and 169 targets and 260 indicators. So our target is SDG 6, which is water and sanitation. So as actually Professor Tenki, he mentioned about water is very crucial, not only for the development, even for human well-being. Okay? So, but as you know, actually there is a lot of wastewater produced so many industries. So, and because of several drivers, external drivers like climate change, even land degradation, as well as increasing population growth, may affect even the water. So how we actually save the water? And from industries, you can actually see almost like 80% of wastewater around the world. They release 80%. If you actually save some percent, at least like 2%, 3%, it's actually more than enough. You know. So the idea is actually our project starts from how we make a good solutions to have a proper efficiency water usage. So based on that, actually we come up with some objectives. Before going to the objectives, this is our conceptual framework. So how we come up with this conceptual framework? As you see, we have the sustainability. When we talk about the sustainable dimensions, so we mainly talk about environment, economy, and social. Okay. So if you look at our concept is there is an environment. Under the environment, they have water resources. Under the water resources, of course, they have an economic activities like industries, agricultural activities, and so on. So the idea is actually how we calculate, we assume water consumption for each sector. So based on, our idea is first we try to develop a input-output table to look at how much of water consumed for each sector, so that we can easily identify so which sector consumes more water. So that is actually one of our objective of this study. Okay. And actually, and the other part, environment as well as the social. So those things actually will discuss my colleagues later on after my presentation. And as I said, our target area is, these are the target area. So we currently study in Bali, which is located in Indonesia. So Bali is one of the provinces in Indonesian country. And also we are actually doing our research in Nepal, the Pokhara, and followed by India. So in India actually we selected to study Visakhapatnam. So the reason why we selected Visakhapatnam, so Visakhapatnam is a heavy industries. So they consume more water. And during actually summer, peak summer, so they have a high water scarcity. So that actually how they actually reduce water. If you reduce the water, automatically they reduce the production. So they have to maintain. So how they maintain? So you have to have some solutions. So those solutions actually, we may actually come up with some solutions after completion this project. And so these are our main objectives. So our objective is like we look at the importance of water in small medium cities. Of course, Visakhapatnam is not a small medium city, but we consider as one of the city for our case study because it's highly consumed by water by industries. And then we try to actually develop some indicators from each component. As I mentioned, the component is economy, environmental, and social. So based on this project, we try to come up with such an indicator so that actually it may contribute to the SDG goals. So now, that is our actually the project, why we have come here, and what is the project is we are currently working on. Now I would like to move on link with water related aspect. So the topic is integrated water resource management, impact on social and economic development. I hope, how many of you heard about integrated water resource management? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, integrated water resource management started by actually US universities because actually the idea is, you can use the water in a sustainable manner, so without any deteriorating, and then it can be actually enhanced, improve your social as well as economy. So that actually, then they come up with this concept, integrated water resource management. So I will explain briefly, maybe later part. So see, look at this, how important is water. So without water it is really difficult. So we took some pictures on, I don't know actually where it is, Indian Express. This is taken by Indian Express, but I don't know where is it. So it clearly, shows how the water plays an important role for the human life. So without water, without life. So, right? And even actually, I don't know, in Godavari has plenty of water, so that actually they can use more water. But in case of where I come from, Srikakulam, as well as Visakhapatnam and other districts, especially in May, so we have a peak water scarcity. I think even Godavari has the same, but yeah. So that actually we need to, make more efficient. We need to actually reduce water, so that actually it will be benefit for the society. And these are the current issues I would like to discuss. So one of the issues is like the resources under pressure, and the second issue is like population under water stress, and the impact of pollution and water governance crisis. So these are pictures from different countries. I just want to share with you all. These pictures are taken from Africa. So if you look at here, I don't know how many actually carry hours of water from water resource to the home, but in Africa, actually the female, they start in the early morning for collection of water, and they will come back in the afternoon. So it means actually just only for 2 or 3, not buckets I can say, like the cans. They use cans. So it almost like it takes like almost 6 plus 2, 12 hours, almost like 8-9 hours, only getting water. It means if they actually only spend time on the water, so they lose actually everything, like for example education, right, and everything. So that we can actually, as students, as a scientist, we can come up with a great solution to how to reduce the burden and give a good life to them. So that the idea is The issue is actually, so what is precious? That is actually the main motto. Okay?
Thank you.
So, someone.
Somebody.
Okay. So this is the projections actually you can see from the worldwide. So we would like to, as a UN, we need to actually show, like, I mean, what is the current situation in the around the world. If you look at the projections, these are the projections from all over the world. We actually started from 1990. It's a comparison. So what is the situation in 1995 and 2025? So if you see the situation, almost like the orange color, more than 40. So the idea is here, I mean, the total availability of water withdrawal. So how much water actually withdrawal from, I mean, 1995 to 2005. So almost all part of, the northern part of Africa as well as India, and you even see like Pakistan, Afghanistan. So they have a lot of problem in future if you don't take a proper measures. So you must take a proper measures and actually save water. That's really important. Okay. So even when you look at the clockwise, I mean, of course, this is the right hand side. You can see the country wise how much actually consume for each sector. It's not so clear, but you can easily identify how much sector, how much crop they consume by each water. The water. And yeah. So then, what are the key challenges in front of us? So the securing water for people, that is one of the key challenge, how we secure water for people. And the second is secure for water for production. Of course, people is fine. If you don't produce production, so you don't have a food, that's really difficult. So the one of the key challenge, that is one. And how to create a job opportunities. If you have suppose for example, if you don't have a water, so you don't have a production, you don't have agricultural activities. Suppose if you have more water and you can have more jobs. Like for example, you can expand your agricultural area and so on. So then you can create more jobs. And then actually the protecting vital ecosystems. Do you know the ecosystems? What is ecosystems? Ecosystems. Biodiversity. What is biodiversity? Very good. We have to actually protect those. Actually, let's say for example, if you build a big dams, for example, of course it is good. At the same time, you can think about the other, constraints. We have a pros and constraints. We have to look at. So we have to protect in a way. We have to protect ecosystems in a sustainable way, and we have to try to make dams and stuff. So on. And then the other thing is dealing with variability of water in time and space, as I mentioned earlier. So you will better having a easy water of access, so that it will actually reduce time and saving, so that actually people can jobs to other alternatives. They look for other alternatives. Okay, and then managing risk. So creating popular awareness and understanding, and forging the political will to act, ensuring collaboration across sectors and boundaries. So people awareness is really important. Otherwise, it's really difficult because, as you know, Cape Town in South Africa, they have a lot of high scarcity. Even in a week, they don't take any shower. Using the shower, actually they reuse by themselves because there is no water. Almost like they have 3 months. So that actually the government was, that is actually the first city in the world without water in South Africa. So now actually, because previously they are not care, they are very reckless, because when you have suppose taking a shower, you may take maybe 1 bucket. I don't think you take 3 or 4 buckets because you don't take care of, you don't care of water. But now actually they just use only 2. Chembu, we can call it chembu, just they go like that. So it's really important in future. Okay, then even the political will, sometimes political will, for example, we had a lot of conflicts between, I think you guys are, maybe if you appear for some civil services or something, you may know about the conflicts between the water, especially for Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, even Andhra Pradesh, right? The transboundary, we call it as the transboundary. So, in future, we are actually thinking that we may have wars because of war. Not for the power, because of war. That is for sure. Actually, I don't know who is actually capturing this, but I forgot. But that's a situation will happen in future if you don't secure water. And then collaboration across sectors and boundaries is really very important. For instance, if you look at India and China border, so in rainy season, we always rely data, hydrological data. Maybe some engineers are here, I know that, they may know about hydrological terminology. So what they do actually, they expect some data from the China, because China has to provide the data how much water will come up during the rainy season, so that actually they can take measures to protect the people. Right? So that actually that kind of collaboration between the countries, even as well as the states, is really important. So that actually you can reduce human life. You can save human lives. So these are some of the aspects. Are the key challenges in future. So of course, actually, when we talk about issues, okay, we need to also think about the solution. How we make a good solution for each challenge. That's really important. Of course, even one cannot make a good solution. We have a multidisciplinary. For example, engineer and link with the sociality and environment. So we have to be collaboration, so that we make a very good impact and good solution. For instance, if you look at the building large dams, as I mentioned, if you construct a dam is really important. Actually, it stores a lot of water and everything. But the idea is where you actually build the dam. That is very important. Identification is really important. If you build in agricultural lands, it's not so actually favorable, and it destroys the biodiversity in the ecosystem. So that you have to be very careful. Actually, making each solution you have to be identified by yourself. That's very important. And then actually the top-down approach. So whenever making policies, like for example in the government, they make a policies. They never consider the micro level. Suppose if I make some statement about the agricultural production something. So as a scientist, I can make like a general statement, but the reality may know the ground people, like farmers. They know the more reality than us. So that actually you have to include even those, the micro level, top to top, not actually the top up. Top up means is like hierarchy, like top to bottom. But usually you have to go for down to top. Like include farmers, their decisions, what they are saying, like that. It depends on the sector what you selected. Okay. And the technical solutions. Of course, in developed countries, if something happens, they can come up with have a good solution. But I'm sure actually in Godavari River, they have a different canals. If you look at the canals, some are like water lakes. Some are like water lakes. Some may have like more, they grown like trees around the lake and lakes. So that actually even sometimes they don't know how to actually make good solutions, technical solutions. So we have to be very careful, to be making good solutions while we doing things. And this is actually the conventional, I think I just explained. And this is the water resource management. So who will be the part of water resource management? So the one aspect is like water supply and sanitation. And the other one is irrigation and drainage. And of course energy. And then environmental services and other users including industrial navigation. So if you have more water resources, you have more users, right? So that actually you have to be secure. So these are actually the, how can I say, the framework of the water resource management. So I can. So how they come up with the integrated water resource management. So this is like a flowchart. You can see how they come up. It starts actually 1920s. The scientists. Initially, the US scientists, who are actually the civil engineers, hydropower engineers, they come up with this kind of concept, like why don't we have an integrated water resource management kind of stuff, so that actually we can look at more problems if we have. But having a civil engineer is, not only civil engineer cannot do anything, right? If you ask something to the social aspects, he may not know. He know actually design and stuff, but how it's actually help to the society doesn't know. So that actually you have to include other stakeholders, like for example, in this case, social and environmental experts and different experts. So this is the flowchart for the IWRM. As I mentioned earlier, so this is the definition. Basically, this is the definition of IWRM. So IWRM is a process which promotes the coordinated development and management of water, land and land resources in order to maximize the resultant economic and social welfare in equitable manner. Like for example, right to education, right to water, that kind of stuff. Okay? And why we need, as I said, countries are facing very serious challenges for problems, especially for water, so that we have to be very careful, and then actually it will be improve automatically our economy and the social aspect. Basically, this is a procedure. I mean, how they come up with the EWRM procedure. They have a several flows. So first you come up with your plan and you send it to the policymaker, whether the policymaker is accepted or not. And then actually before that, they send it to the engineers. And then actually they also send it to the local stakeholders, whether it is actually relevant or not. It's a process. It's a long-term process. It's a continuous process for 365 days, all the time, all the years. Because once you come up with one aspect, so they also discuss all the time. Because sometimes if you propose one dam or one something, some people may not happy. So then you have to be actually satisfied, you have to be actually think about it, you have to come up with solutions. Then this concept is almost like 365 days, continuously goes on. So it will never stop. That's the reason it's like a flow chart all the time. Okay. So the implementation is based on participatory approach, so involving users, planners and policymakers. And of course, government plays a very important role. I think without women it's really difficult, so that's really, yeah. And the idea of integrated water resource management is like, as I explained so many times, so we have to be balanced, social, economic and environment in a sustainable manner. So that is actually the motto of IWRM. But it does not happen all the times, all the places. So we have to be very careful so that once it is implemented, people will easily benefit in all sectors. So this is the flowchart. And basically the flowchart would like to explain how, we can use water in a way, like for example, this is, the water passes and through purification and the water distribution. And then it goes to industries, domestic purpose and agriculture purpose. But sometimes actually, if you don't have a proper technology, it may go directly to, waste as a discharge, it discharge the waste. So between that, if you create some kind of solution to come up with some technology, you may stop some percentage of water, not all. Then you can make a circulation. So then it will provide a circular economy. Okay, it's like almost like interlinkage between one to another aspect. And if I link with the society, I think you should go ahead. So this is actually, this picture is actually taken from in India. The first picture is in Odisha and the second picture is in Delhi. So look at this, how they actually use the water. So it's really, having this kind of water is really not good for health. So that you can think of it because they don't have any other alternatives for them. That is the only source they can get. So we have to change. Because as a scientist, as a teacher, we have to be actually make a good solution so that actually they can have a good things. But at the same time, the government involvement and the stakeholder involvement is really important. Okay? And this is in Rajasthan. This is like a peak summer. How they actually collect the water. So it's really hard. You guys are very lucky. You have a very good river, Godavari, so that you can have actually a lot of water. And then, yeah. And I think you know about the farmer suicides, right? A lot of farmer suicides happen because of several reasons, and one of the reasons is water. And the Maharashtra actually they have a highest rate of suicides. But as a scientist, as an Indian, we have to be thinking about it actually, how to reduce these suicides. Is really very important because they are actually food providers basically. So we have to save them. That's really very important. So that we have to create a good solution. How we actually change them to that mode. So these are the things important. So yeah. And if you look at here, some of the technologies. There are short technologies, for example, which is developed by ICRISAT, which is located in Hyderabad. The ICRISAT is International Crop Research Institute for the semi-arid tropics. So they developed, this is like a rain harvester, small check dams. So that actually they can store water during rainy season. So this is one thing. And if you look at the down, having this kind of technology, they have a very good amount. They can generate more money. So this is actually what, it will directly impact their social life as well as the livelihood. Can you see the right hand side, this small tank? Do you know what is that? Can you guess? The gravity flow water supply system. How it looks like? Do you Actually, this is really very interesting and very unique. There is a NGO called, as I mentioned in the morning, there is an NGO called Vishaka Jilla Navanirmana Samiti. We visited actually yesterday, right? Yesterday, we visited yesterday, and we actually go through the procedure, how they actually store the water without disturbing any ecosystems and biodiversity. So this is actually located in Lambasiki, which is actually Visakhapatnam district. It's a tribal area. So they actually consider as like two case studies. So one is model village, which is actually close to the, for example, roads, and the another village is like a primitive tribals. They actually lived in a very high areas. Okay, so they just show this. They stored the water only using spring. We call it as uta. In Telugu uta, we call it as uta. So that actually they store the the spring water, and they divert it into the small. This is like a distribution tank, but they have as a storage tank. So initially they have the storage tank, and they actually discharge it to the distribution tank. So, but they can drink this water. They have a very good water because they have like a 3 partitions which can actually make a good water. So these are like the small things actually makes more prosperous. Okay. And I think you know the GDP, right? GDP. I think hopefully you all know the GDP. So basically, even in an economy, in any nation or any country, so we have to be measured through GDP. So how much growth they had, right? So this is gross domestic product. We would like to see how much impact between, if the water scarcity happen on GDP at the world level. So if you look at the the current situation, of course this is the very old slide. The current situation as well as the better path. There is an interesting thing here. If you look at, and the yellow color is like a blue color, right? So yellow color is like negative. It shows negative, and the blue color shows positive. But here today's path is almost like -6, but future it shows positive. But we are talking about climate change, increasing population, land degradation. So then why is this positive? Any guess why it is positive? You should talk actually, otherwise it's not. You must actually talk. That's good actually. Make more interaction. You know.
If we practice sustainability, it will be better.
Exactly. So here the idea is the previous slide which I showed, like the small things, the small technologies makes you more impact. We thought like, they're just saving small kind of springs, but it's a larger impact on the society. Larger impact. In case of things, improve their economy, education, as well as employment. So if they start this kind of activities, not only for exactly in India, even other parts of the world, you can see the better path. Okay? And this is an example of, you can go ahead. So this is an example of African country, which we actually collected in my previous slides. So this is about the Zimbabwe. I just want to look at the distribution, the relationship between the GDP and the rainfall. So if you look at the GDP, I think you know that some statistics we have to perform. This is just a bar chart, but we can also do some statistics, based on using some data. So here we use the data for rainfall as well as the GDP and see the changes. How the changes happening, if the rainfall is going down, whether it is really impact on GDP or not. So these are the changes actually we are looking at, and it clearly shows. If there is a rainfall, low degradation of rainfall, it is clearly impact on the GDP, if you can see. So it means actually the water is really important. Yes. Go ahead. Sir. Yeah. While making a product, so how much water requires for each product? Do you know that? If you see, for making a 1 kg of rice, it requires 3,000 liters of water. 3,000 liters of water. And if you look at it, I'm so sorry, actually I could not put the beef here, but this is a previous slide I just taken because we just showed this slide to different countries. it's not my mean to put here. This, okay, you can consider as a pork, I mean, or something like that, but this is beef. I mean, how much? Because in the worldwide, outside India, beef, they consume more beef, lot of beef. So then it's like a big issue. If you look at here, 16,000 liters of water required for 1 kg of beef. It means a lot of water actually consumes for making the requirement of each product. And yeah, actually I have already discussed all the issues because I just want to tell you again, because we have to take proper measures to reduce water usage so that actually we can get a good sustainable society. So you can just go ahead. Yeah. So here I just want to talk about the Subak systems. The Subak systems basically it's one of the water management system. I just want to share because this is not performed in India. This is performed in Indonesia. Do you know the Bali? Bali. It's a beautiful place. It's a tourist place. So in Bali, almost like 90% of the population are Hindus, and the rest are like the other minorities. So that they have a traditional water management system called Subak system. The Subak system means is like to protect water resources, and it will help you like the nature as well as your human well-being. So they call it as a three hita current. So the concept. So it's a very old traditional water management system. So the idea is actually how to program as well as PhD. In future, if you may interest to apply PhD, so please visit our website. So yeah, we will know. If you are interested for doing PhD. Okay. IELTS, of course, actually English language proficiency is required. So IELTS is required, and one proposal is required, as well as you must have a 70% of your undergraduation or graduation. So, but if you have any if you want to wish to pursue your career in UNU, so please feel free to send us your any queries or mails. So we are very happy to respond.
Why we are bringing all these global people is to expose you to the global. Don't confine to Nana University, East and West Godavari. Globe is the sky is the limit for you. You are most privileged to join the Nana University campus, and in campus, this is the type of exposure you get it. And though you complete one master's here, you can still try for the other master's done. And there are n number of opportunities. Money is not the criteria. You need to have little time and commitment to browse various websites. You get a lot of fellowships in every field, not only to science or any management, but every field. So take the opportunity and try for the global opportunities as well.
Thank you, sir. Geetha Mohan studied at Andhra University here, and is a part of Nana University also. Why? Because he PhD work doing it Nana University at Professor C. Ratnangar. I study first OS. Next, Julia Roder, madam, please come and give a big hand. Then is Saroj Kumar Chapakai. Please come, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please encourage. Nice presentation given by the Saroj Kumar Chapakai. And today's president.
I want. It's okay. Okay, 10 minutes. Kedra, come.